This is Between Sundays, a podcast by the church, for the church, about the church. Thanks for listening. Welcome back, everyone. We're so thankful that you guys are tuning in. This is episode 7. We are talking about encouragement and building one another up. Before we dive in, I just want to ask, what is something that has been bringing you joy lately?
Oh, I think tinkering with my motorcycle.
Tinkering with your motorcycle?
Yeah.
Do you mean like in the...
Just doing like maintenance, taking the wheel off, tightening the chain, doing those kinds of things. Just because
cool.
Pastoral work sometimes is so cerebral in books and things. And you deal with people a lot, but it's nice to work on something with your hands and just kind of focus. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
I actually like doing things around the house because it's therapeutic. Like even doing the dishes. Because I just kind of zone into it. I can see I got something done. Bad pile or dirty pile of dishes. Now it's clean.
It's so satisfying. Yes, I agree.
So being a kind of information worker all the time, it's nice to work on stuff.
Yeah. I may have brought this phrase up to you before, but I've heard somebody say once, like, if you work with your hands, then you rest with your mind. And if you work with your mind, then you rest with your hands.
Yeah, seems true.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Okay, so today we're talking about actually a subject I care so much about. And I think that in my experience, the church at Big C Church has a lot of room to grow in this area of encouragement. But encouragement, when we say encouragement, we're not necessarily talking about flattery. Like I have this friend, he's not a believer, but man, he always has something nice to say about everyone around him. He's very nice and very complimentary, but that's not the same. So can you just explain the distinction between flattery and biblical encouragement?
Yeah. And so obviously I don't mean this about your friend because I don't know your friend, but oftentimes I think flattery, the main difference would be flattery is given because people want to get something from someone else and the empty compliments is the currency that they're using to get that.
Yeah.
Whereas biblical encouragement, it's about the individual and specifically God's presence and activity and how God is using that individual. Yeah. And so it seeks to recognize the vertical dimension of God working in someone's life and to do and bless the person, as opposed to kind of maybe a tit for tat, get a compliment back or something like you're just kind of buttering them up. So you really want to encourage them because you see something genuinely representative of Christ or anything good in that person. So
yeah, that's great. Why is encouragement so essential to the Christian life? Why do we need that? Why do we benefit from that?
I think it goes back to, God made us as social beings. And so we thrive off of affirmation and praise, right? That's not a wrong thing. I think sometimes as Christians, we think, well, that's only God gets the praise, and that's true. But because he made us social beings, we thrive off of that. In the same way, I love to talk about my dog Einstein. He just thrives when you give him affirmation. When you praise him, the joy and encouragement is the fuel that keeps joy going. And when you praise a dog, and this works with us as well, it just fills our sails because God made us as social beings. God made us also as beings. We want to affirm and acknowledge when we see something honorable, beautiful, good, and true. Right. And so, after all, we were created to be worshipers. God created us to worship him. And so encouragement is the appropriate version of that to human beings. You acknowledge something really good and worthy and honorable in somebody, and you want to voice that. Right. So, I think that's why it's so essential to us. We were made for that kind of encouragement, and we were made to honor what is honorable. Yeah. It makes me think, I remember early on in my Christian walk, I loved to write, and I started writing and sharing my writing, and the first time I heard someone say, I read that and that helped me, thank you, made me realize like, that I want to keep doing this. Yes. Like I wouldn't have had I not been on the receiving end of someone saying this had benefit for me. Yeah. So it kind of keeps us going in the things that God has gifted us in. And it affirms in you something God has given you. Certainly you worked at it. And that encouragement makes you want to continue to press into the way God has designed you to do things. Yeah. Well, as I was researching for this episode, I discovered something that I thought was so interesting. The Greek word for encourage is parakaleo. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Yeah. Parakaleo, which is the same root for the word that Jesus uses for the Holy Spirit, the paraclete, or one who comes alongside. So
what does it mean that our call to encourage one another shares the same root word as the Spirit's own ministry? And also, like, what does that mean for the implications of how serious God treats that ministry?
So when we talk about, like, you kind of ramping it up as we're talking about the Holy Spirit and that word usage. So the way we typically think about encouragement is genuine attaboys or you go girls, or saying something that's like we talk about affirming.
Right.
But the essence of the word encouragement means to put courage into something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the root meaning of encouragement.
Yeah.
So to strengthen, to give resolve, to comfort, to shore up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing when you think about that's the Spirit's name in some sense. His job is to put courage into us, to help us maintain our resolve, to endure and to overcome.
Right.
So it's really neat that we get to participate in that very ministry of the Spirit. In some ways, it's a very godlike thing to impart life through words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's this gracious way of God allowing us to come alongside and do the very thing He does,
right,
through His Spirit, to help people have life and hope, maintain, have courage. So I think that's something that puts it on a different level of when we think about encouragement. It's not just saying, hey, you're really good at playing guitar, I appreciate that, or something like that, but just putting courage into someone.
Yeah.
I like that because it's so, I guess, noble
mm-hmm.
and right. And
right.
that's what we should be doing with each other, putting
right.
courage into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Hebrews, I'm going to read this verse. I borrowed this Bible. It was just sitting out somewhere. So I don't know whose Bible this is, but thank you.
Is there a name in the front?
You know what? I'm going to have to check.
Yes.
Hang on. Let's see.
There's a lot of writing.
No, but there's notes. There's a lot of writing throughout this Bible. Whoever this saint is, they love to read their Bible. Okay, Hebrews 10:25. Actually, I'm going to go back to 24. And let us consider how to stir one another up to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more so as you see the day drawing near. In particular, I'm recognizing that the author of Hebrews connects encouragement with presence.
Yeah.
It's not what is the word I'm looking for? Separate, that it involves us spending time together. So why does he tie encouragement so tightly to physical presence?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, we are social beings. And so we were designed to be together in that sense.
Yeah.
And contrary to Sartre, hell is not people. Or what do you say? Hell is people. That was his big play. Hell is people.
Yeah.
Hell is other people.
Yeah.
That's hell is the absence of people. I know that sounds odd, especially if you're an introvert like me, to think, no.
Yeah.
You might agree with Sartre, but the reality is hell is the absence of people. We long to be with others. And the reason being is every one of us, we've been made as image bearers of God. And this side of eternity, the closest we're going to get to God as a reflection is other image bearers who are reflections of His character. And so our fellowship together is as close as we're going to get to that fellowship with God in that visceral, tangible, real way.
Yeah.
And so who wouldn't want that, right? That's why that's why encouragement and physical proximity is so important, and which is why this trend for digital community and virtual church today is so deceptive and dangerous.
Right.
The Greek word for what we say church is ecclesia. Ecclesia, it literally is the called out ones, the ones called out, the gathering, the assembly. It's actually a very common word in the first century. It literally means to be assembled. And so virtual church is an oxymoron.
Right.
You cannot have church unless you're physically assembled with other brothers and sisters. And so the danger of it is it makes you feel like you're having community, when in fact it's the opposite of community.
Right.
We were made to be, we're embodied beings. We were made to be together.
Right, right. I'm part of a writing community, in air quotes, on the internet. And I see these women forming these friendships where they're calling each other best friends. And they talk about how nobody knows me like these people do. And I just think, man, like if I were to find that type of intimacy on the internet, I think my family would have a lot to say about what they don't know about me.
Yeah.
And that encouragement that they would offer me would be flimsy at best. It wouldn't be real or rooted or aware of me as a whole person.
And the strange thing's like that people find that community because there's an anonymity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the opposite. Like, okay, so you're finding community because people are drawn to those things because there's a little bit of anonymity. So it's odd that you would have community in a place where you're anonymous.
Right.
It just does not make sense.
No, not at all. Okay, well, Paul tells the Thessalonians to encourage one another with these words. He says this in both 1 Thessalonians 4:18 and in 5:11. And in the context, he's talking about the resurrection of Christ, that's where we find our encouragement. So what's the difference between encouraging someone in the gospel and just telling them that everything will be okay?
Oh, yeah. Well, we know that the gospel is the great hope. And because of that, when it comes to encouragement, that tells us one of two things. Number one, because it's the gospel, it's good news. It's God's good news. It's not our news. It's not our story. That tells us that things are not always going to turn out the way maybe we intended. It's going to be good, but the story won't be told the way we want it to be told necessarily. Right. So what I guess I'm saying is that our definition of what good is has to expand. A lot of times our definition of good does not go beyond the horizon of my wants and desires, my personal needs for my family.
Right.
So it's always going to be good, but it'll be in ways you don't expect. And because it's the gospel, we know ultimately it will triumph and come to pass. And so that's much better than saying, well, things are going to be okay, because what assurance do you have that things will be okay? And what's the definition of okay? But when encouragement's rooted in the gospel, it is the reality of things may not turn out the way you want, but it will be fantastic in the end, and it will happen.
Yeah.
It's an assurance and a guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an example from your own life of a friend that was able to offer you that type of encouragement?
I guess just right off the top of my head, I think for me, I not so much of it as a friend, but what I thought my life was going to be and what it turned out to be, right? I really thought God's purposes for me were go into Hollywood and be a light in that darkness and all those things. My life was dedicated to it. 10 years of my life, everything was around that.
Yeah.
And when that all came crashing down and it was clear that wasn't going to be the case, that was hard.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was that was the means by which my road to becoming a kind of pastor was set.
Yeah. Right.
And I became a vocational pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think was much better.
Yeah.
I always like to joke around with my family that I could have been a J.J. Abrams or something some. I was going to date myself by using like Motley Crue and Metallica, but that's too old. But so that was an example of what I thought was good. I wanted to represent God in Hollywood.
Right.
He had completely different plans.
Yes.
And that was a bitter pill to swallow, but I am so grateful.
But it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so grateful it turned out the way it did.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, one last question. How can we grow in being observant of others, having an eye to see, and just grow in our ability to encourage?
I think step one, people have got to looking at their phones.
Yeah.
Right? Just right out of the gate, get your face out of the phone and look at the world around us. Stop being absorbed in the world in our phones and inhabit the world where everyone else is.
Right.
And as you said, we have to be observant. And to do that, we've got to be looking around us and not at screens. So that's step one. Just get rid of the phone or, stop looking at the phones.
Yeah.
Step two, I think build margin into your life. When our lives are so maxed out, you're just thinking about the next thing you got to do. There's no presence of mind or space for other people.
Right.
And so a great way to encourage others is make room for them by just lightening up your schedule somehow or planning in interruptions or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think third and finally would be realize that everyone needs encouragement.
Yeah.
I could throw a rock into our sanctuary on a Sunday morning and it'll hit somebody that needs encouragement.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think those are three practical things. Just kind of be aware of the phone and that you're missing a world around you and not looking at the world in the phone, slowing your life down, making room for people, and then just realizing everyone needs good, godly, genuine encouragement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I talk to my kids about a lot, and it's something I pray for myself. I read this article once where they talked about being a there you are person instead of a here I am person. That like some people walk into a room and they're like, I'm here. Like, I'm happy to be a gift to you. And others, they come in with an orientation of there you are. Like, I'm so happy to see you. I want to know more about you. I'm curious. And I think that's something like we could really grow in is just being more aware. Or another phrase Tim Keller uses is like, there's freedom in self-forgetfulness, being more curious about what God is doing and who's across the table from you. So
that's great.
Yeah. Well, I loved this conversation. For those of you that are listening, we end each of our episodes this season with a closing prompt, a way that you can just evaluate your own life and consider how you could grow in encouraging one another. So here it is. Consider what might change in someone's life simply because you chose to show up and extend life-giving encouragement to them this week. Until next time, keep loving Christ and his bride and keep pondering our prompt for you. We'll see you next time.